be unstoppable. Whereas Journey, on the other side of things, even though he's looking up and up right now, just simply doesn't have the experience yet in the booth that MMA has had worldwide and in the GSTL. Now is starting things off with a solid start in Pro League. He's been performed well at BlizzCons in the past. I mean, MMA is a top-tier stellar player who's always been one of the best in StarCraft 2.
MMA came out with an exploding start, a very explosive start here in Pro League, especially coming into SPENU. He took 2 quick wins and big TVTs against great players, and he made it look easy. Very well-prepared builds. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes ahead and goes against Journey here. You were talking about how Journey doesn't have as much experience when you compare to MMA, but I'm sure MMA, he's had enough experience going to all those tournaments, facing random people he wasn't expecting to face. He's going to come in here with a very prepared build. It's a best-of-1. He's going to try to shut down Journey here to get SPENU back into this game.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to rely on him for here. I just want to say, I mean, you said his beginning of his Pro League here was extremely explosive. I feel like his whole return to Korea in general has been explosive. Honestly, didn't expect much from the guy. He played in the GSL Global Tournament. You and I actually commentated this. He just simply looked like he was totally in the European mindset of fighting process in late game. When he fought Parting. Parting made I think 19 Archons on that game.
Yeah, something like that, and he just got wrecked.
Parting is like, oh, you're not going to pull the boys? Like, that's not how we do it in Korea.
Especially for the beta at that time.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like some Terrans are going back to a bit later. You know, we don't see that boys pull all too often these days, but here are the predictions, much more mixed in this matchup, actually. The Team Salmon sticks together once again with MMA. These are actually the same ones from last game.
Yeah. So, looks like just a bit of a different sort of feeling, I guess, from our Korean analysts. The MC, of course, as we kind of refer to him as Monday Caster a lot. He now casts on Tuesdays also, but last year he didn't, so that's why we call him that, for those who didn't follow the whole of Pro League StarCraft 2 scene. But he's on our side here. Here's Journey, 3-2 in Pro League, 2-1 versus Terran. One of the players everyone used to tweet at me when he was on SKT, why doesn't he play? Why doesn't he play? He's at the Code A qualifiers. He never makes it to Code A. Everyone's always talking about him. We see tweets about him. We see pictures of him, but he never plays in Pro League. This year, he's on Samsung. He has been fielded several times.
Yeah.
He looks okay. He looks all right.
Kind of reminds me of Bravo, coming over to a slightly weaker team to get a lot more playing time. Bravo has gotten more playing time than this guy, but he finally gets this chance to come out in Pro League like we were saying, and he's shown pretty decent games. When you consider the caliber of players that we have here in best-of-1s in Pro League, he's 3-2. It's quite nice.
Oh, look at this. This is like the perfect return to Korea theme here for MMA. Looked incredible in the GSL. Solid play here in Pro League. 2-2, 2-1 versus Terran, but the opponents he beat, top-tier Terrans, good TVT players as well. Solid preparation, like you were saying. And got to favor him here pretty extremely, myself.
Yeah, definitely favoring him here. He lost his last TVT, actually, that he played, and forget who that was against.
Was it against Flash, maybe?
Maybe, yeah, I think it was. I think you're right about that one.
And it was just he got caught out with a lot of his units and lost too much, and then Flash had too much of an advantage that he was just never going to get back.
Also recently lost the game to Hero. Falling to Hero's War Prism Harass was just too much later on in the game. MMA wanted to go to that later game once again. Let's see how he goes in TVT here against Journey. It's going to be on Vaani Research Station right now. Up here on the top in the red for the Samsung Galaxy Con team, it is Journey.
The bottom of the map in blue for SBENU, it's MMA. MMA's hair.
Sick hair.
It looks really good. He's quite famous for being one of the most handsome pro gamers of all time. Being very iconic like boxer in the very beginning of StarCraft 2's fame in Korea in Wings of Liberty. And has carried himself through hard times, this banning of Slayers, a partnership with Acer, of course, and has been through a lot. He's seen the world. He's traveled. He's picked up a lot of that European meta. You know, he knows how to use those styles. But the thing is, he doesn't always, and that's what makes him kind of scary, is because sometimes he'll play like Happy from Europe, and then sometimes he'll play like Flash, sometimes he'll play like Maru. You really don't know what you're going to expect to see from this guy because he has trained with these players. He's practiced against them. He's played against them in tournaments. He's played on the European ladder. And the Korean meta is like considered to be the best, right? It's considered to be the strongest. But if you're not familiar with those other styles, sometimes they can throw you off.
Yeah. Especially in best-of-1 series. That's the beauty of Pro League. I mean, that's when you get games like Hero vs. Departure, where Departure has an amazing build that Hero hasn't seen before, and he just totally shreks it. Like, it's not even close. It's so one-sided in Departure's favor that if you weren't a StarCraft fan, you would question how good Hero was, because it looked like he just got straight-up owned. You know what I'm saying? So, MMA, definitely a very versatile player, and that makes him very scary. Very handsome. Also, other players that are known to be handsome, I guess, Hero. Yeah. As well as Dream. Although Dream's kind of young. I know my sister likes him.
Your sister is big on the Dream. Zest is probably the most known right now, I would say, amongst Korean fans and foreign fans alike.
Especially for Moonblade.
Yeah.
It's Moonblade's man crush.
You see gas first both of these, but we can continue to talk on this topic. One of the older pro gamers known to be very handsome, Nada.
Oh, yeah, Nada's body, man.
Nada's body. Who else? Known to be very handsome. I'm trying to think of like big iconic ones. I mean, we're talking about like.
What about Boxer? Was he known to be very handsome?
Boxer was known to be very handsome after he got famous. If you go back and look at old videos of Boxer, you will see that like the guy was basically just a normal pro gamer. Like, he didn't look bad or anything. Like, look at Journey. Like, Journey doesn't look bad, right? He looks good, but he doesn't have, like, this style where it's like, damn, he's got his own style. And then Boxer became that guy. He became a legend. Boxer is actually the symbol of StarCraft in Korea. If you ask anyone about, you ask your taxi driver, if you tell, when I'm in the taxi, and you ask me what I do for a living, what are you doing out here? I'm like, well, I commentate a variety of games, mostly of StarCraft. Do you know StarCraft? He's like, oh, yeah, Imyo-hwan. I'm like, yeah. I'm pretty tight with the guy.
Yeah.
We talk every now and then.
I was going to Korean language classes, and my teacher knew who he was, actually, who Boxer was. She also knew who Nada was as well. Quite famous Nada was as well.
Yellow, very famous in Korea right now outside of StarCraft. But hold that thought. Here comes the Reaper, and it will get targeted down. Bit of a rough start here for MMA.
Very unfortunate for MMA that he jumps up right there, and great positioning from Journey to know exactly where MMA would come in with the Reaper if he was coming with the Reaper. Very, very cool.
The thing is, like, see, MMA does something similar here, but if you spread your Marines out to cover all of the distances, you don't really cover any of them, because if you have one Marine at each jump-up location, the Reaper's still going to get by. The most likely, the most efficient way to go by is the way that MMA chose. That's why he kept his Marines there, knowing that the only way he would kill the Reaper for sure is if it came up at that location. So, pretty smart move. Pretty standard, but cool to see it executed like this. And we see Cloak coming out for MMA. Blind here, as he wasn't able to scout anything. And we see a safety Raven on the other side of things.
Journey also going to go for a much earlier second CC here. Really liking Journey's position in this one. MMA going much more harass favored, whereas Journey is just playing a very defensive style with that gas first.
Very cautious. Notice he doesn't even position his CC at his natural completely. He puts it in a place where it's close to his Marines, close to his Raven, not too far away. Like, he's not, if it's a proxy Stargate or something like, or Starport, excuse me, it's not going to get picked off the SCV that's building and maybe get canceled like we saw happen to Marine King earlier, where he's trying to build that Starport. He's keeping things very tight here. And let's see, this Banshee can do so much damage.
I wonder if he's going to cancel the Cloak once he sees the Raven. Doesn't look like it. Just going to let it finish. It can be useful a little bit later on, especially as well.
Medevac keeping that SCV alive for just a little bit longer, but does end up getting killed. But again, the safety of having this CC so tight in the base helps him hold on here.
Interesting that Journey noticed that small little timing where MMA saw all those Marines and he's like, oh, I can't get damage done. So the Banshee moves away. And the second that the Banshee moved away, this drop comes out. All those Marines that were there to defend are now out of the map. Of course, new ones are popping out, but for a slight, 10 seconds there, MMA had a small window to take out some Marines, but he doesn't find it. Very smart play from Journey. This drop is now going to come into the back door. It looks like MMA is going to be ready for it at least. He's got some Marines up that ramp.
It's also
walk down easily.
He's going to have the CC ready too, so it's not like this could be forced to cancel. It's actually going to outnumber him in Marines, but he doesn't have a medevac here, so control is really important right now. Okay, he's just going to back off. Knowing he's outnumbered, the medevac could be targeted. Better safe than sorry.
Got his damage done. You know, 2 SCVs not bad, especially in a mirror matchup like this. He's got his own orbital up now, but as you mentioned, pretty safe with the positioning on that one. So he's going to have to take some time to go over there and drop it down, whereas MMA had that down on the low ground since the beginning. So slight advantages all around for both players.
This is a very even start here, fellas, and I kind of like the TVT we're going into. But let's talk about like what's going to happen later as these players, you know, start to fill out their builds. There's a potential for a timing attack from how you know, both of these players are building up their armies. A much bigger Viking count coming out for Journey, so he's going to be able to push with that if he decides to move across with the siege tanks and Marines. He now starts Stim, which is a variation on what MMA is doing, is adding a third CC. With no Stim, it does start to look more and more like he's going to be going down the mech path. Although he does add a tech lab here, could just be for another factory. If he's going to go for bio, he's certainly doing it very late, and he is doing it. Adding more barracks as this drop gets deflected.
Yeah, he's already added a bunch of Marines.
Yeah.
Was looking like that Marine tank style for a while, but still no Stim, as you were mentioning. Small little cube drop into the main after drawing all those units down to the low ground. Not bad. Good harass so far out of Journey in this game.
Even gets that SCV here, which means that the CC is going to be further delayed. That poor Marine's going to get taken out for it, though. Well, let's talk about like where we're at in this game, because this is two different paths essentially to the same end. We're seeing a much faster power up to additional barracks for MMA, so he's going to have a larger Marine count quicker. But his Stim is so late that he won't really be able to use that aggressively. So with a faster Stim here, we're going to see an attack from Journey, but hold that thought.
Look at this. The entire army of Journey is out in the middle of the map, including that Raven and all the Vikings, and there's no turret here at the back door natural. This Cloak Banshee from so early on in the game, getting so much damage done, 5 SCVs, and going to force that whole line to pull into the main.
And that's the more important thing. Like, this is a huge turnaround. This changes the entire playing field, and that's why saving that early Banshee is important. And that's why if your opponent goes Cloak Banshees, it's always important to have one missile turret in each mineral line. Journey just playing a big
one.
You know, at least one. And Journey plays greedy here. I don't think he forgot. I think he just thought, well, I've got so many Vikings. I rushed out. I got a Raven. I'm going to just get those extra 200 mils, put them into something else. But, you know, that's what's going to cost him here. Looks like he might actually find. Let's see if MMA can react in time. It doesn't look like he will.
No, just oh, no,
wrong way.
Sorry, Banshee.
But it did its job so well.
I feel like MMA could have abused all of those Vikings and Ravens out of position to try to get a decent position at the bottom of Journey's ramp. You know, set up a bit of a concave, but MMA not really going that aggressive. He's just going to drop down his third base at the third base location and start mining from there. Whereas Journey's is slightly delayed. So getting ahead in different ways here. He also didn't have Stim at that time, getting it very late, as we mentioned before.
Yeah. Journey, like, I feel like he's, in a lot of ways, playing this a lot greedier, and that push that we saw him go for was just to keep MMA off his back. And he was going to use Stim to take a fight if he needed to, or also to retreat, giving him a little bit more versatility. But I really like his double E-base. That's going to put him into a significant upgrade lead here. In fact, we already saw that actually, you know, starting to finish up right now. It's actually about to start coming into play in just a second here.
Wow. That one's going to finish when the drop hits. Even it's going to be very, very close with that one.
He's got so many tanks lined up at his third base as well here.
Look at this timing. I'm not even sure if he's trying to set that up, but it's going to work out really well for Journey.
Yeah.
Looks like he's waiting on the drop. Maybe he wants to scan and see where the army is just yet. And wait until it's like a perfect time when MMA's army is way out on the map so you can get more and more damage done.
Though the Marine count for MMA is much higher here, just simply because he went for that earlier powered-up barracks like I was talking about. So he has a larger army size in general. It's just not as upgraded. And this is something that will snowball into the later game. Oh boy, these Marines need to get picked up. But look at the upgrades now. 2-2 on the way with just +1 armor. He's going to be a full set of upgrades behind when that finishes. He needs to use his advantage in army size now before this snowballs out of control.
He really does. Uh-oh, free Raven it looks like over here on the left side of the map.
Oh, but the Seeker Missile! Will he get it? He does. Doesn't kill it, but of course does damage it quite significantly there.
He just wanted to use the energy before it went down. Not a bad idea. Force a repair or something like that. We're going to see MMA now move out on the map. Take down that watchtower. Another scan coming down. Journey really wants to see when that army moves out, and then it finally moves out, and there the drop goes into the main.
This is a great timing. This is exactly what you were talking about, and even denies the armory here, so even going to further deny those upgrades of 2-2 perhaps. Looks like it's just going to slow it down. MMA wants to commit to the attack with a superior army size here. Auto turns to disrupt the tanks, and here comes the stim on the Marines. Can he break through with those upgrades that he has? Not quite. But that was a great move there. Very quick on his feet. Journey able to make that attack work, or at least attempt it. Drawing those Marines away with the auto turrets, getting the tanks to fire on MMA's tanks.
Oh, man. He took out so many tanks. He's going to be able to follow up here. MMA is totally routed. He's going to try to push him back with some Marines, trying to snipe out some of the Vikings, but he is on the run for sure. And another tank going to go down way, way too slow. No medevacs here to help out. 4 on the map, but none there. And then MMA is losing more and more with that push. Look at the amount of tanks that Journey has right now. MMA just does not compare. 10-2.
He really doesn't, man. This is a big concern, as Marines, they don't really make up their supply in this matchup for how much damage they output.
Look at what's lining up here as well. It's +2 infantry weapons, +2 armor is also about to finish up here, it looks like, for Journey.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like he's noticed that he's got this timing, or at least he's being pretty slow about it, pretty careful, coming around the right side now. Maybe going to try to go for a big drop into the back door.
Well, something that's really important to note, I feel, about how Journey is playing this is he's not trying to hit a timing. He's just trying to maneuver well and play straight up and try to get small advantages with better positioning and better movements. And so far, it's working for him. And yeah, I think you're right. I think he actually doesn't really quite realize he has this huge advantage to work with. This is something that Korean commenters are highlighting here as well. You might be starting to realize, like, hey, you know, maybe I'd actually take a straight-up fight with my Marines versus his. I have the better siege tank count. He has the better Marine count, so this is something that means that Journey will have to rely on siege tank positioning here.
Yeah. That's the big thing in TVT. Positioning is everything. And if MMA, with that higher Marine count, can get on top of those tanks, he definitely can do a bunch of damage. But look at this. Another run by coming over towards that third base. A ton of Marines, very heavily upgraded, going to take out everything over here.
Look at how fast those units fall. One set of upgrades is so important. I mean, all right, let's talk about this for a second. Well, hold that thought. We might actually have another big fight. Going in. It's actually engaging over there on the right side. And those tanks were not sieged, but still, it doesn't matter.
This is way, way too much stuff over there for Journey. Very surprising that MMA engages, even without his tanks, when he's down 2 upgrades. Just questionable decisions so far here in this game.
Like, let me just read out some numbers. There are 71 Marines on the map. That's 71 times this upgrade gets applied.
Look at this gigantic drop on the back door. Everything was focused over with those 2 drops towards the third base. It was a fake one. This is the big main drop. It's going to force everything to go back. The orbital's going to have to be lifted. It's probably going to go down.
Yep.
There it goes.
MMA looks defeated. If you take a look at his face here, now the siege tanks control the ramp. Looks like he's just going to back out, knowing he's outnumbered here.
He's got so much damage done. Looks like he's actually going to stay there for now. He's going to attack from 2 fronts, it looks like.
Well, he's got the army to do it. MMA now pulled between 2 locations. Upgrade-wise, he's equalized, but not for much longer. 3-3 is about to finish. Journey does engage here with half of his Marines. The other half actually pull back. This is a chance for MMA to take a very solid engagement, and he will.
Huge concave for MMA. He is going to lose this fight. Of course, he is down. He's going to try to pull a bunch of SCVs, in fact, but he's going to lose almost all of them.
Such a bad idea there. You know, it was a desperate move, but, like, you're fighting upgraded Marines that have +3 attack, soon to have that +3 armor as well. You never want to be fighting your Marines or your SCVs versus that.
Take a look at the base of Journey right now. He's got a gold base up now. It's 4 bases to 2. MMA is desperately trying to clean up this drop, and he will. But look at where he is in this game now. He is so far behind. He's got 37 workers compared to the 4 base economy of Journey with 69 workers. Kappa. And there you go. Like, he's so far ahead right now. And he just backs off for now. He's going to take another careful engagement, it looks like, from two sides.
Every time you see that production tab open, you could see that Journey is just doing so much more. Look at it. 2 tanks at a time, 2 medevacs at a time, 14 Marines on the way. He just has more production. He has more money. Spots this Doom drop. How's he going to respond? Oh, I don't know if he actually saw that.
I'm not even sure if it's going to matter.
I don't think
He's
it will.
He's going to get straight onto the production. He's got so many tanks in there as well. It looks like 4. Going to set up a really nice spot. He's going to force this gold base to lift and possibly go for the back door, but the main and production of MMA is getting totally shut down in the meantime.
He's getting Marines set up and ready for defense. He's got 2 sensor towers to spot where the army is, exactly where it is, and how big it is, or how small, I guess I should say here, Valdez.
Yeah. And we say it time and time and again, if you can get on top of the production in any kind of mirror match, in any kind of match at all in StarCraft, you have your opponent in checkmate 95% of the time. MMA is going to try to go for a bit of a desperate drop. He's going to be cut from 2 sides by a bunch of Marines.
This is going to be the end here. He's even able to win this fight. Well, if he could have get his Marines over there, he would have, but it's essentially a win here because he eliminated the move forward. He stopped this attack. He shut it down. He's getting the rest of his hit points back up on these Marines. MMA is desperately trying to relocate his main base. He's adding 2 depots here.
Once again, Journey is just being very, very passive. He's just slowly cutting him off from any kind of economic tie he had earlier on in the game. He's now mining from 1 base, MMA. Journey is just sitting back at 3. He's got a much better macro. You can see 2 tanks and 10 Marines coming out at a time to the 5 Marines and 2 medevacs coming out of MMA at a time. It's just no economy left over for MMA at this point.
MMA is trying to come to terms with the situation. He's going to lose this army here. He's going to have to type out soon. I think he's doing it right now. GG.
So, wow, Journey taking a big game against MMA, a guy we favored. Actually was 4-2 in the predictions for all of the commentators once again. But he does go down, and Samsung gets 2 wins in a row off of 2 of these Terrans that they're beginning to showcase more and more these days, and for a good reason.
Journey, what I want to say about this guy in this game is no gimmicks, no timings, just solid movements, taking the right risks at the right time, using his movements to take faster upgrades, never overcommitting to drops, only dropping when he knows he can do damage, waiting patiently with a drop until that move out, forcing the units back, doing everything right. He didn't have a plan. His plan was to play safe and to play well and to play against MMA. He didn't have like some main strat or some big elaborate plan.
Yeah.
And he just played very safe, and he didn't take big risks, and that can often wear a Terran down.
The big thing I will mention is that he played very Dream-esque, and he was playing so well for the map. Just the way he slowly got position before going for the big drop towards the back door. He didn't just go for a big blind, giant, like 5-6 medevac drop in the back door. He got his tanks in position, took fight after fight, forced MMA away from that position so he couldn't defend the drop. Then he dropped into the back door, and it was just like a slow chess game out of Journey. It was so smart. He really impressed me today, and I want to see him more in the future. He's going to take down MMA like that. That was insane.
We see upgrades are so important too, and when you see in ZVZ, when you've got 40 roaches versus 40 roaches, that +2 attack upgrade for the roaches makes a lot of sense. When you've got 70 plus Marines, think about that. Every single Marine doing so much damage, best damage density in the game. So important to have those upgrades.
Big difference. We've gone dark. 3-minute break. We'll be right back.